McCabe's. So I usually wear something Italian, but I know it's an Irish pub, so I had to get a Notre Dame hat to wear tonight. So just some housekeeping. We're really happy that we have our open mic here. We did it last time. We had a lot of people. We had a lot of comics. We had a great time. Comics, let's try and keep it moving. There's 23. You're going to get a light at 4 minutes, and at 5 minutes, I'm going to hit you with my cane. All right? So make sure we're moving. So who's friends with Marla and I on socials? I'm sure you're sick of seeing 9 posts a day for the open mic at McCabe's. So yeah, we got a little carried away with that. How about Florida, springtime in Florida? Isn't it great? We went through the great pollinating. Everything was turning green. Now we got the love bugs. Ain't the love bugs great? What's the last thing a copulating love bug sees before they hit the windshield? Just me giving them the finger, sons of bitches. You know, they hit the windshield. No matter how much you scrub, there's always some residue left behind. It's Mother Nature's cum stain. No matter how much you scrub, you can't get rid of it. It leaves that residue behind, like on a blue dress. Right, Monica? You know, I got to tell you, I'm 68 years old, so these texting acronyms, they really screw me up a lot. For instance, I made plans to go to lunch with a friend. So we're talking about, he says, all right, he said, let's shoot for next Tuesday. I said, fine. So he says, I'll send you a text to confirm. So he sends me a text, and the text says, C-U-N-T. I get this text, I'm pissed off. I call him up, I said, what the fuck? You calling me a cunt? He says, no, it means see you next Tuesday. I gotta get the guide with all the acronyms on it. Oh, it looks like 11-hand Omar has a $30 million accounting problem. She was worth $30 million on last Tuesday, and she's worth like $90,000 today. Presumably, she hired a Somali accountant from the Leering Center. She might have considered a Nigerian prince, because I understand they're pretty good with money. For me, I'll just stick with a Jew accountant. You know, and in history this week, we learned that the Revolutionary War was fought against the billionaires of their time. I think the Revolutionary War was the original No Kings movement. You got to hand it to AOC, the always oblivious Chica. She brings the history books out and teaches all of us. You know, while standing in a bulletproof box the other day, she says that she wants the North to come up on the South. In other words, she wants the North to come down and start some shit. So I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking it's a big mistake. What are you going to have, soy boys against the rednecks? You're going to have baristas against the bubbas? It's not going to turn out well for the North. So I think we can make a pay-per-view event out of it, right? We could have Miss Donkey standing up there and telling us what's up. And the thing that really killed me when she was talking about the North coming down on the South, she said that's going to be the opening silo. Not the opening salvo, but the opening silo. You know, I used to travel a lot. I had a long corporate career. I spent a lot of time traveling. I spent some time in China. And you know, last week, they took half the administration and they went to China. Personally, I think that's too far to go for a number 7 combo platter, but you know, that's just me. So when I was in China, we went to visit the Great Wall in a place called Badaling. Being someone who lived in New Jersey for a long time, I'm familiar with Bada Bing, but not Badaling. So I'm standing by the Great Wall, and these little Chinese people are sidling up next to me to take a picture. And I don't understand what's going on. So I text my wife at the end of the day, and I said to her, I don't understand what was going on. All these little Chinese people are walking up to me, and they want to take pictures. She goes, well, maybe because you're American. I said, no, I don't think that's it. She goes, oh, I know what it is. They wanted to get a picture with Homer Simpson. You know, I lost about 65 pounds since last May. And it's funny, like, thank you. People who haven't seen me for a while will come over. they'll look, they'll tilt their head, put this sympathetic look on their face, and they say, hey, you lost a lot of weight. How you doing? You know, I don't want to scare them. I just look at them and I go, it's just cancer. You know, I told you before, I'm Italian, and food is very central to Italian culture. I come from a family of great cooks, and I'm a pretty good cook too. But you know, there's some things that just shouldn't be, like Olive Garden. I look at Olive Garden as a culinary hate crime. You know, I remember as a kid, my grandmother was a great cook and a great baker. And one of the things she was really good at baking was bundt cake. And as a three-year-old kid, I was all excited when I went to visit her. So I go running in the house, and I asked Grandma for my favorite baked product. Except I was dyslexic, and I changed the B and the C on bundt cake. The family was really pissed off with me. So I'm grateful to have grown up in the 70s. You know, there were no cell phones, so people weren't taking selfies of everything you did. They weren't taking selfies of all their meals. And, you know, frankly, if there were cell phones when I was a kid, everything would have ended up in an indictment. You know, back then there were no gluten problems, there was no ADHD, there was no celiac disease, no peanut allergies. There's a whole generation of kids right now that could be taken out by pasta. You know, we went to strip clubs, we smoked cigars, we drank scotch. Now guys go to kava bars, they smoke blueberry vapes, they drink chai latte. It's a very, very different generation. And they sit around and they talk about their feelings. We didn't have feelings. We had cocaine. And what happened to pubic hair? There's no more pubic hair. All the shag is gone, everything is hardwood now, it's ridiculous. I remember as a kid, you had to be very intrepid to muff dive. There was a very specific technique. You wanted to blow all those loose hairs out of the way, right? So you wouldn't choke. That was pre-menopause. Now, post-menopause, you do the same blow, but it's to get the dust out of the way. It's like a 1980s Nintendo game. All right. Are you guys ready for your first comic? All right. This guy, he's one of my favorite comics. He's gotten so good over the last year. I want you to give a big round of applause to my buddy, Mikey